I'm back.
Finally. Thanks for joining us.
You're welcome. I had a good time. I had a little brief trip across the pond. We're missing Natsu this evening, no longer with us. He's stepped away because...
He's still alive.
He is still alive.
But like, you phrased it in a weird way.
Did I?
Yeah.
Either way, speaking of life, that's why he's left, because there's a new one coming into the world that he has to attend to, naturally so. And thanks to Vince for stepping in for me while I was gone. But that leaves just the two of us, Henry. We can resume our one-on-ones in the Vulcan, although we get the production staff that's still there too. But
yeah, this is the way it should be.
Me and you fight to the death.
Yeah, it's good.
It is good.
Continue the fun.
Well, we start the U.S. group tonight. We'll look at the tournament format because 3 out of 4 teams are now through, one of which was Team Solo Mid, and let's be honest, they barely made it in. In fact, losing the first map to Kingwin, I was fortunate enough to watch it when I was home. Losing the first map to Kingwin, overtime in the 2 that they won. You could argue that they almost didn't deserve it, although they had Get Right standing in on Kingwin. You were there.
That was such a crazy experience. In fact, when I saw Get Right join the server, you assumed, okay, all bets are off. It's going to be a very simple victory now for TSM. And all of a sudden, they came to life. Get Right was stepping up. He actually, I would say, the MVP for Kingwin, on the most frags at least. But really interesting game. And actually, obviously, I think the right team went through, but obviously, it was an amazing game to cast that night.
And there's 2 storylines to that. One is that Get Right, who's been struggling on NIP and hasn't been his old self, suddenly was released from shackles and then got to play his creative style again.
So that's why I think that's a perfect example of showing that when someone's not being regimented and actually allowed to do what they want, the leash has been taken off, and that's where you can see the best out of Get Right. Maybe a little bit of an answer to why he may not be stepping up recently.
I think that particular game, that stepping, could actually be really good for his confidence. Maybe this will help him, go back to NIP and just, strip down a little bit and get back to basics. Maybe that this is something to remind him that, he does love the game and he does love his play style. And even though things haven't been going well in NIP, then he can still look good. But the other storyline to that is the fact that TSM, the defending champions, barely made it through this year. They were the first team to qualify last year. They got beat to the punch this time by Virtus Pro out of their group, and of course Fnatic came out of Group 2. But we'll look at the bracket because now it is the U.S. group, the last remaining bracket. It is Luminosity starting off tonight against Method. That's a best of 3. And then CLG versus Liquid, also obviously a best of 3. That one could go the distance. The first one, it might be a little more clear-cut.
I think so. Although the last time these guys played, Method did win. That was just down to purely, I think it was DDoS issues that were going on at the time. If you compare the 2 teams on paper, Luminosity, although they just came back of a disappointing result at LAN recently, I think they're a much better team than Method ultimately.
That's right, and you actually talked about that LAN. That was Win-Out LAN. For those of you who didn't catch it, it was North American-based LAN. Luminosity have returned into their new gaming house under the new organization. They played CLG in the final, and for the first time in Luminosity's time in North America, there were some pretty one-sided games. Usually the games they were losing, they weren't that clear-cut. There was 1 or 2 here and there, but 16-6, 6-16, they ended up winning on Mirage, and then 16-1. To lose the series against CLG. So there's definitely some weaknesses going on within that team, despite that they made it out of groups and they always play well at international games.
I think that's what makes our second game even more exciting. You said they could go the distance as well. CLG looking unbelievably sharp at the moment. They go against Liquid as well. And obviously Hiko just joining that lineup as well. That could be a really interesting
I'm really excited.
series.
I want to see him and Nitro together. I haven't had the pleasure of seeing them yet play with Hiko in the lineup. I've just been too busy to catch up on a lot of the North American action being over here. Usually we're sleeping or playing H1Z1. Let's be honest.
More of the latter, to be honest.
Yeah, let's Sadicus in the pit. We got it in there. No, I mean, look, I think that game and Liquid Online has been looking better and better as well. CLG is obviously, I think, put a foot forward to be North America's second-best team.
Yep.
Qualified for the last major. I think Cloud9 still takes the honors. In fact, I would still say Cloud9 is the better team over Luminosity even. But tactically, Luminosity, that's where they shine, and that's why at the major they did so well.
We spoke to Fallen after the game, and you can tell how much passion he's got and how smart that guy is. It's rare to see a sniper be the in-game leader, and he does that role so well. He's such a sick player, and he still is such a tactical mastermind as well.
And that's the weird thing, because you talked about the sniper being the in-game leader. Looking at Liquid, again, they're not playing Liquid tonight, but looking at them, Adren, he normally was the opper. He stepped away from the role because he doesn't, specifically on T-side, because he doesn't like to make those calls and have to op at the same time. So Nitro will pick it up here and there, but more and more we're seeing that oppers getting away from that role, getting back. XP3 did it on Elevate for a while in North America. We've had lots of people do it over in Europe as well recently. So that is a different role, and it's impressive that Fallen does it so well. So he's going to be a player to watch. Let's look at the Vulcan teams, though. You started off tonight.
Oh, yes. Here we go again then. So, obviously, NA scene, not my bread and butter, it should be said. But let's see where I went for anyway. So, I tried to stack my bets on the games I thought would go the distance. We talked about CLG and Liquid going as far as possible. So, obviously, I brought Hiko in. as my shot caller tonight as well.
Interesting.
Probably going to be one of the best players in the NA scene right now. And if this map does go to 3, he'll be influential in that. So I think that's going to be a nice pick for me. Not too expensive as well for the best player on the team to have him at $1,400. I thought that was a little bit of a bargain there. So I also picked up Nitro and Fugly. Nitro, obviously one of the other players everyone always talks about. He needs to be stepping up and like how good he can be. I don't think we have seen the best of him yet.
His best moment was when he played with iBuyPower at the December ESEA LAN. That was back when they had him, and at that time it was just after they got rid of Desi, brought Steel back in. Nitro was the top North American fragger at that event, and it was because he wasn't yet regimented and he had the freedom of being entry, had the freedom of going nuts at the start of rounds. That's what I want to see more from him.
So to move on to Method as well, I didn't pick anyone up from them just because I think that's a game that won't go too far, and I wanted to have 6 players from the other two teams going in there. So then Luminosity, I think they're going to roll over Method, so I picked up 2 of those guys. We've got Fur and Cold as well. Fur, potentially one of the best aimers in Brazil right now, if not North America. Same with Cold as well. I can't believe Cold is so cheap. He's a very strong individual player.
This is good from you, actually. I like this lineup.
Good. Okay, then we go on to CLG as well. JDM, I think he's been stepping up a lot recently. Very good AWP player. And then we've got Cutler and FLS. Although Cutler said he even tweeted the other day, he felt like he hasn't been as consistent as he could have since he took over the calling role. I still think he does a good job almost every single game. FNS as well. He was more of a balancing the book issue towards the end of it. Like I say, I'm trying to stack the top of teams here, but I think, like you said, I've going to go a stable team. I took the plunge, not picking up anyone from Method. So if they do pick up a map tonight, I could be in a little bit of trouble. So hopefully that game goes to a 2-0.
This. I don't mind this team from you. I'm relying on. Yeah, I'm relying on Tarek to step up because you've got a good Liquid team.
Well, let's see where you come into the equation then.
You want to lay a bet? Just me and you one-on-one?
Okay.
All right, we'll look through my team, and then we'll lay a bet for the loser. I think you're going to like it as well. I could totally see you liking it. All right, so here's what I've got. Team Liquid. I do have Hiko. I do have Nitro. I do have Fugly. Very similar to where you went. I do think that, again, between that game of them and CLG, I think that'll go the distance of the two. Has more potential to do the distance. So I've actually stacked that up. As such, no one from Method. I didn't pick a single player. I left them silent, no pun intended. Silent, obviously, on the roster.
So far, we've got exactly the same team.
So far. Luminosity, though, we get just a slight discrepancy. I went Bolts and Cold. I think you got Fur in there, didn't you?
I got Fur and Cold.
And I don't know how you managed to pick up Fur, and it must be because of my CLG differences in price where I picked up Tarek. So I went lower on Luminosity and stacked up the second game with Tarek. I need him because of what you did and managed to take FNS and not JDM and Cutler. I need JDM to go big. I need Tarek to go even bigger to compensate for that. You may slip away. If Fur has a nuts game over even just 2 maps, you may still slip away with it on that. Shot caller for me was Tarek. I actually flipped a coin between Liquid and CLG. I think Liquid do have a chance to actually, I wouldn't call it a real upset, but do have the chance to beat CLG as the underdog in this. And I actually, when I flipped a coin, I came out with Nitro as my shot caller, but then I went back on it because in my head I still think CLG should win this. So Tarek is who I went with. He's worth the money. The other player, like you said, Hiko, you picked up. Nitro was the guy I was going to go with. Other player that could be an amazing shot caller, even though he's an op player, is JDM.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why.
Do you want to know what the bet is?
Okay, it sounds like you've got something prepared already.
Loser between, as we are in, we've got to look at the productions teams still. I think we still have to look at them. We haven't looked at them. Okay, but we'll talk about our bet. So as we are in Romania, and we are closing out the last 4 nights of regular season, I thought it would only be appropriate that one of us should wear a proper Romanian shirt on stream. But here's the catch.
Okay.
It's a female blouse.
How female are we talking?
Oh, very.
Yeah?
Yeah, so loser has to wear it. Are you down with this?
What day?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
To follow up this evening's Falcon.
The whole night.
The production staff's already calling this a bad idea.
It probably is a bad idea. I don't see how
it's not like, all right, we can discuss it, but it's on the table. I'm going to put it out there.
Let's speak to production afterwards. If they're happy with it, maybe we can come back and discuss it.
Even just wear it for one segment.
Okay.
All right. I think it's a fair bet.
Let's continue that later. After the first game, we'll discuss it.
Here's the production teams, and they've been doing fairly well. They've either won or they've come last. I think every time. There's never really been an in-between for them. Thankfully, Not2's not here to beat us. But Elige, Nitro, Fugly, they have a decent core off of Team Liquid. They elected not to go with Hiko, which both of us did. Took Elige instead. You'll see what that actually benefits for them. They as well assume that Method are the underdogs. They were the qualifying team, the non-invited team. As such, they've left them dry as well. Luminosity, though, here's where they've actually stacked up. They've gone for 3 on Lumi, which means if that game does go 3 or if both series go 2, they've got a good chance here with Fur on that team. Now, they didn't go with Fallen. Money was the issue there, obviously, but Steel and Bolts. But they're relying on Fur, and Fur online throughout the ESEA Pro League season last year was arguably the best player in North America. So not a bad selection at all. CLG, meanwhile, they've gone a little lighter to compensate for that. So it's a bit of a gamble. If the Luminosity game doesn't go as far as the CLG Liquid game, then we should be in the clear there. But they've got Hazed and Cutler. Cutler has been more consistent. Hazed had a really good win-out land. In fact, he was their top fragger in the finals. But overall, I still think JDM and Tarek are the 2 guys you really want on that for frag potential.
Yeah, I think you're right there. But the whole thing for me is having the stacked teams, having more from CLG and Liquid as well. I think that definitely is the map that's got a game to go to 3 maps. So.
All right, well, we are going to take our break, as always. When we come back, we'll start off with the Luminosity Method game. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Well, unlike the lumberjack that we're dressed with who sleeps all night and works all day, we're doing it in reverse because the U.S. group starts now. We're going all night long with the 2 best of 3s. And we said the first one, it's going to be Luminosity versus the qualifying team Method, who have actually made a player change since we saw them as well. Toy is now on the roster.
Do you know who Toy is? I don't know who Toy is.
I know briefly who Toy is. I haven't actually seen him a whole lot. In North America, I've been covering just sort of the invite and professional, as it is now known, levels. He's been dabbling around the premier scene. He was actually, and okay, I talked to Stun about this last week on Halftime when he was our guest, but he kind of said it's all shooting the wind now. But Stewie and Toy were both kind of names that were passed along in the Cloud9 sequences when they thought that they would be replacing, what now is Freakazoid.
So some breakout talent potentially. We know he's good, and he's looking for a platform to show how good he can be. Maybe this is the game we can see how big this guy can go.
Yeah, I mean, it's good to see him on a new home. I think Method, they made 3 big qualifications during the same time. One of them was PGL during the same time that they did qualify for this. They made the CEVO Professional League again, and they also requalified, or they qualified into the ESCA Professional League. So they've made all of the early steps. They've got to follow that up. And, we've talked with a few players this year on various teams that are going to be making their entrance into the Pro League. And the back half of the league is wide open. I mean, Method does have a decent chance of potentially, finding I wouldn't say they could be an upset team in that league, in the Pro League this year, if they found a way to upset, the top 4, play that spoiler role. But I don't think I can't see them making playoffs. I just don't think they'll make relegation either. They'll be somewhere in the middle.
That's what I think. I think they seem like they're a decent lineup. I don't think they're on the same sort of caliber as especially teams like Luminosity tonight. Although, like you said, there's a chance they maybe upset a map depending on how it goes down. But if you're trying to base it purely objectively on stats and who's got the better team on paper, Luminosity beat them across the board on every single scenario, I think. But like you said, Method definitely got some decent players within there. We've seen some good performances from them, especially in the qualifier. I was impressed by some of the stuff they did. But going into this one tonight, it's going to be a very difficult affair for them, actually, to even get close to beating Luminosity, in my opinion. Yeah,
I would entirely agree. We're going to look at the rosters now in a little bit more detail. We'll start with the Brazilians, Luminosity. And their new jerseys, their new photos, nice. Updated photos as well. I really like the Luminosity jerseys, if I'm honest.
Yeah, we're looking good. So we've got Fallen, Cold, Fur, Bolts, and Steel. Fallen, we obviously discussed about him being the in-game leader and one of the craziest AWPers as well. We've seen very flashy player, goes up very close range as well, can pull absolutely nut shots out of nowhere. And don't be surprised if you see him going 40 bombs tonight. He really can be something quite special. Cold as well, one of the new additions to the lineup. A player we hadn't really heard of before he joined this team, and he seems to be playing lights out recently. Him along with Fur, I'd say, like the
they almost look like brothers.
Like brothers? I wasn't going to go with brothers. I was going to say the point men, the entry killers, the people with the biggest aim. And Cole's definitely one of those guys that fulfills his role, being very impressed, especially the major. He seemed like he very on point there. Fur, potentially one of the best aimers in Brazil right now, and maybe even North America. Very interesting to watch, very explosive player. Then we have Bolts and Steel, both riflers. I think these are more falling into the support roles, holding the flanks and stuff like that, but definitely players to watch out for. I think Steel probably a little bit less of support than Bolts is, but that's it in a nutshell, really. I can't say my knowledge of all of these players or the history of them is too deep, but we got to watch them at the major. These guys got into the top 8, losing to Fnatic 2-0 there. So obviously, these guys are world-class talent. If you're making legendary status at a major, getting invited to the next one automatically, you know you're going to be doing something right.
Absolutely. I mean, that's the big thing. They've made it out in 2 majors that they've attended after coming out of nowhere just 8 months ago, have already qualified for the next. I mean, they're going to be at now 3 majors in a row. Their tactical prowess is remarkable. Beating TSM in the best of 1, also Pro League, ultimately led to their demise. But we'll look at their opponent tonight, it's going to be Method coming into this, and obviously the map totals, you can't really compare these two teams because they've been playing different caliber of teams. Toy, the new man on the team, doesn't yet have that photo updated, obviously, as he's come in so late into the roster. He's a guy for me that, again, we want to see that breakout potential. We want to see him take over a lead frag role because when it comes to fragging with these guys, they're fairly evenly distributed, but there's no one for me that jumps off the page. Elite, usually a consistent kind of guy, mid-round player in that support role type thing. Silent and Streber have actually been two guys that have needed to really step up. Justin's gone to the op a number of times, and he's not someone that, to me, with the op can really make a massive impact, but he does enough with it to give his teammates space, to give them room, more so CT side. He rarely finds the openings that he needs in the early round on this T side, but Streber and Silent are the guys that really, for me, have to kind of step up in individual games. Now with Toy on the roster, I think there's a bit more chance that they'll have a lot more early game potential in each individual round.
We discussed them. They're on the cusp of getting into the top end of that NA scene. I think bringing a player like Toy, an unknown factor, especially for us outsiders, well, more me, an outsider, maybe this is the player they're looking for, the ace up their sleeve, perhaps someone to kind of boost them, take them over that caliber and get them to the top end of the scene. So that's going to be really interesting. They obviously wouldn't bring in someone unless they were fully confident in his ability. So, well, who did he replace? Can you remember?
That's what I was going to say it off the top of my head, and suddenly I went to a blank because them and SKDC made so many roster changes. Someone in chat will definitely know. But yeah, it's been a shuffle, a bit of a smaller shuffle in North America, and I don't dare say for fear of getting it wrong. If I had to say, yeah. Don't quote me on it. There's the past encounters. Now, this is more recent. This doesn't include, like you said, the June matchup, which did have the DDoS issues. Luminosity were in the gaming house at the time. They were having a lot of issues in sort of their third week in that gaming house. I think they lost 3 matches that week, and it was the first time people called chinks in the armor, but really it was a lot of internet issues. So this is more accurate.
So, like we said, across the board, Luminosity taking all 3 maps. Train, Inferno, Mirage. You have a nice little overview of the map pools there as well. We talk about Luminosity being stronger almost in every single scenario here, and I think that does ring true. The past encounters, although we can't really take too much away from that, it's obviously lineup changes and stuff like that, but at least paints some sort of an idea as to where this is going.
Absolutely. And like we said, this is the match that we did think would be the 2-map sort of game, but that will depend on map choices, and there's been some inconsistencies here for Luminosity as well, more so at Winout. Overpass, which was a map that was quite solid. Cobblestone as well. Both of those were struggles against CLG. We'll look at the vetoing process now. Now, obviously, it is best of 3, so it's ban, pick, ban left over. So Cobblestone went out by Method. They don't play it very much. They're not comfortable on it, specifically against a team like Luminosity. Take no chances. We saw
Luminosity actually take Envy to the ropes of the major as well. They went into overtime with.
And that's why it was shocking with CLG this weekend and Winout that things just kind of
and they took down Flipside as well on Cobble. So that's kind of interesting. That's probably a very good ban from Method, to be fair.
Absolutely. Cash goes out from Luminosity. It's been a team. It's interesting because Cash is it's very open. It's very structured map. It's actually, like, if you look at the actual layout of the map, it's more traditional that you have a direct mid, you have a connector into each bomb site, you have even rotations for both teams. It's very traditional in its build, which is why I think it's been so successful for Volcano and FMPONE in creating that map and getting it into the Valve rotation. But because of that, even though there is execution-based, it doesn't favor Luminosity's style of letting they're kind of like Na'Vi in that they let time tick down and they'll execute really quickly all at once with smokes.
But still, I think the skill these guys have...
Absolutely. It's definitely scaled above, but my point is for them to take out Cash doesn't surprise me. So bringing in the maps they have, there you go. Method with actually with the statistical advantage. I was going to say Dust2 is the only one I could see Method winning. The other two, I think it's hands down Luminosity. You got big smoke presence on Overpass. You have massive smoke presence on Train.
Sure. Well, the thing is, we actually casted Method on Dust2. I remember me and you did that, but it seemed like a lifetime ago now. So I'm trying to remember who stepped. I remember Justin being pretty handy with the AWP on that map. So Silent as well. I wanted to put him in my team tonight. I think he always is a wild card, perhaps.
Yeah, and Silent actually was, and Mainline, by the way. Mainline was the player that went out.
Name.
That's someone just in chat said it. So Mainline, I don't know why I didn't know that because I've known Mainline for years since early ETSs. But anyway, looking at Dust2 in specific, why they went toward this map, I think it does favor that more pug style. It can be more open. Luminosity have to hit shots on it, and if Luminosity are off, then there's a chance for Method, who, if they can get rolling early enough to take momentum, take it away from them. I'm also not surprised to see also, just to go back a minute into the veto process, that Luminosity decided to take out Inferno, knowing that there is an upset potential here against a dark horse that they don't know as well, and that's a very momentum-sided map.
It's one of those biased maps we have in the map right now. So if you get on the T side there and they have an absolute lights-out game on CT, and you find yourself not being able to penetrate it, it definitely has the upset potential.
And that's sort of where the momentum comes in. That's what I was saying, because their T side is actually really good. Their B hit with Molotovs is very good, but they probably don't have a scouting report on Method on how they play Banana, if they're aggressive, if they're passive. So don't take the chance of giving another upset, specifically with Dust2 already in there, which has that potential written all over
Dust2 definitely is an aim style map. If you have the players like Fallen, for example, going around, and Cold, I think those are the three most deadliest players on the lineup. Those guys can just go absolutely nuts on Dust2. Fallen, especially on CT, I think he's going to have a huge game. A lot of influential plays from the AWP. We see some of the best players in the world utilising that car area on bomb site A. That's the go-to place, really. If you have his top AWP, that's where they'll be getting most of their kills. So expect a big game from him. I think this is very difficult for Method to actually shut these guys down.
And I expect when we look at our predictions, they're all going to be heavily favored toward Luminosity. This is a really good scale. This will be a great indication of where this new Method lineup, having revitalized themselves from last season and bringing in Toy, really stacks up heading into this season with all the lands coming up that they're going to have potential to make. And here it is, so this is going to be one-sided for Luminosity, but I don't rule out Method entirely. We said it should go 2-0. I still stand with that, and we'll get to that. As we just saw, EGB, Esports Gaming, very similar, 1-5. But I do think if they could take Dust2, then they've got to play. Yeah, again, this is not surprising to me at all, just knowing that we've got a top 8 potential team in the world with Majors and Method, who's unknown. So 71-29 HLTV. That's a little more favored toward Method than all the others. And then Twitch chat's in that same realm right now. Obviously, some fans coming in for Method, and the Brazilians usually show up in force, though, when Luminosity's playing. So
yeah, I think this is all fair, like you said. I really don't see a realm in where Method actually get a map in this best of 3. I think it's going to be maybe potentially some close rounds, and they may get a decent, respectable scoreline. But Luminosity drilled enough, like you said, to come top 8 at a major. That's no easy feat to accomplish, especially the qualification process and all that sort of thing. Getting into that tournament in the first place is hard enough, but then coming into it, getting top 8, legendary status in the world. That's top 8 in the world.
Twice.
8, yeah, so that's the thing. Like Method, I think, are at least a couple of years away from that sort of level. So
I think that's definitely, to say the least, a couple of years, and if the roster even sustains itself that long.
Exactly.
We always start off with predictions. We'll start. Oh, just kidding. He's not here.
He's here in spirit.
So that means you're first.
Well, I think I kind of said it already, 2-0. Yeah. So Luminosity, I'd love to make it exciting, build some theatre here, but it's going to be 2-0.
Look, I do think Dust2, there is that chance. There is a chance that Luminosity do get the map choice side choice, on the map, but it may not matter quite as much.
When they've got the new player, Toy, like we said, we don't know too much about him. If he goes absolutely nuts and they play like the Pug style, like you said, and just start exploiting, they've got a little info on Luminosity, do some crazy stuff. They could get some momentum built up. Who knows? But if you thinking objectively, you have to say 2-0.
Yeah, and what we could have done actually as well was check out some of Toy's stats from the win out land, because they were playing there this weekend. But
he was there, was he?
He was there. It was the first time they had him on land specifically.
Like 5th,
I think they were pretty far back. I didn't actually see all the results. It was during my crazy trip home, so I didn't have a whole lot of time to watch. But either way, we do have some indication of where Toy should play in, and those who have watched it. So
5th to 6th, below Ace Gaming, Games Academy, 3-star Luminosity.
And that's crazy that Ace Gaming suddenly has turned things around as well and actually made it in. Like that says a lot, because Ace Gaming ultimately won like one game, I think, last year in Pro League, got relegated instantly, didn't even have a chance to play in the relegation tournament. Looked like they weren't going to continue. They will play Premier, but the fact that they actually finished ahead of Method, now they wouldn't have played each other where it was 5th, 6th. They would have been in separate brackets. Still kind of says that there was some interesting score lines there. So that said, predictions, you said 2-0. I'm going to say 2-0. I'm going to stick with it. We'll see what the Twitch chat and production staff have also said. Actually, we skipped the production staff. We went straight to Twitch. I imagine they compiled themselves in with that. 2-0 as well. So no excitement. Method want to play the spoiler, and I think we're going to take another quick short break because we are a little bit ahead of time. So once we get into the server, we'll get right into the action. All right, we're ready to roll. It will be game 1. Dust2 between Luminosity and Method. The first game in the U.S. group, the last group, to determine the 4th team at PGL Season 1 LAN.
I guess it should be clear as well, there's no last chance here as well. So if you go into group stage, you are done for. That is it. So big games, a lot on the line. When it gets to the final here, you have to start winning. So we think Luminosity going into this one being the heavy favourites, but Method definitely can be a handy team, and hopefully we're looking to cause an upset. I think Dust2 is going to be the best place to do that on. Like I said, more of a Pug style setup here, but returning from their last LAN here, going 56th place, obviously not the best showing for them, so maybe not in the best form right now, adjusting to the new player Toy coming in.
Absolutely, and the first LAN that they've had as a team, to be fair, in quite some time, so yeah. In fact, I think the last LAN as a team they would have had, geez, way back.
I'm just saying, if you compare the last LANs for both teams, although Luminosity were at the same event, Luminosity were at the same event, and they didn't actually win. They lost to CLG, right? So maybe they're not in the best form of it. Right? Obviously, we still think Luminosity are going to be the heavy favourites on the server. All 10 players on, which I'd like to see. So we will be... Oh, wait, we don't have a knife round this, do we?
We do not, no. It's unless we go to map 3, in which case then we get our knife round. Otherwise, it's the team that picks the map. So in this case, Method, the opposite side, will get to choose which side they want to start out on. So Luminosity have elected for, as we can already see, based on the fact that they're on the CT side.
I think the stronger team will always do very well on the CT side. They can have a fortress set up on Dust2, especially, like I said, players like Fallen with the AWP towards that car area. If you've got a top sniper there that people aren't able to out-aim or out-react, it's very difficult to have the set executions to actually lock those guys out. I think TSM are very good at that. You see there, they have the drop-down smokes into CT spawn and then going, isolating AWPers towards the A ramp. That can be very effective there, but... seems like we've disconnected Matthew.
I think we're going for a fast restart of the server just to get things stabilized, ready to go, make sure eBot is cleared up, everything is fine and ready. There we go, as we will get back in. But of course, any second we will be ready to start. That's the key.
We're going to Dust as well, Dust1.
Yeah, that's the default on this server to start off with. Did you know they switched the spawn points as the terrorist side, and therefore it's faster to get to each bomb site, and therefore makes it more competitively viable, and therefore Valve should put it back in the map pool. Just
you should be an analyst instead of play-by-play. You are wasted.
Sure.
That kind of knowledge. Yeah, you can bring in that kind of information on the meta and say how it's developed in Dust1. So you're ready for when that comes into the map pool next year.
Choke points are still a little tight at the top of the stairs, though, coming out from the underpass, though. I think they still need to revamp that a bit.
Yeah.
Maybe even just make the stairs go into a whole second hallway that leads to catwalk, and therefore you can make A more viable.
Delete the map from the game.
That is true. They could also do that. You're right. But then they would be getting rid of so much heritage, wouldn't they?
Yeah, it's true. I remember I've got a lot of fond memories on Dust1. That's where I started my competitive career. And
even Militia, which is in this game as well. But then this version of Militia is
well, you're opening a can of worms as a hostage map. So
I know, but you said nostalgia.
Yeah, I'm saying, well, not really the same thing, is it?
All right, fine. Stop it. I was trying.
But yeah, we're back on. Seems like we were just clearing out the bot. A little bit of a nuisance sometimes.
Yeah, he can be pretty stubborn. It's a rough life as a bot. Just ask Alu.
That's quite good. But Toy, I like his picture. He's actually got a little Toy Story picture saying "Cool story, bro."
That's
his
really
name is
legit.
Toy.
Man, do you know what movie actually made me cry the hardest of any movie in the world? Toy Story 3.
Really? There's a new one coming?
I don't even want to watch it. It was like the perfect ending. It was me like saying goodbye to my childhood in a nutshell. I was living with 2 girls at the time, and we watched it, and they were like, "Oh, like we've heard such like sad things. We're both gonna cry." They got up and left the couch at the end completely fine, and I was sitting there like shaking and crying for like a good 5 minutes.
What's that evil big baby called? Is this called Big
I
Baby?
forget. I don't know.
You don't even know it?
No, I just.
It's a purple bear.
I don't want to talk about it. This is bringing up really emotional times to me.
That's the influence a name can have on the emotions.
Well, we've got more time to talk. You said it. There is no last chance qualifier for the North Americans, which some people looked at initially and thought, well, that's not fair.
I think
it has to do with the fact that there's only one group. Everyone has the chance to play each other in this group, whereas in Europe there were split groups. There's more teams, therefore. There's a third spot that has to go. So the 6 teams pooled together. That gives everyone the chance to level it out.
You have to remember there's a lot more competitive teams in the European scene as well.
Absolutely.
And obviously we haven't even got Cloud9 within this group, so they opted out to concentrate on other ventures. But the caliber compared to European, compared to the rest of the NA scene, unfortunately, is not there. So I think it's justified. The word fair, I don't think, is applicable here. I think it's a great opportunity. We're seeing teams like Method have the chance to play on the big stage here, get themselves out there, and if they can take down someone like Luminosity, perhaps there is a shout for a second group to be considered next year. But right now, Method are on a different tier, I'd say, and they're qualifying for the main group. So that kind of paints a picture for you already. So definitely all to play for him, but there are a couple of front runners, it has to be said. I think, well, there's 4 teams, there's 3 that stand out to you that potentially all could make it through. Luminosity, CLG, and Liquid. And it's hard to say who is going to win out of this group.
Yeah, if Liquid perform, Liquid is this team, and it's perhaps as fleeting as trying to hold on to Liquid with your bare hand. It's saying the word potential and saying that they have so much of it, and they've shown it in small flashes online, and they're getting a little bit more consistent, but
they get
to do it at a stage that matters, that gets them anywhere, you know what I mean?
I haven't read any of the the local press releases with propaganda. Is Hiko calling for them now, presumably?
I don't actually know that. There was the debate, and obviously Adren's position has been calling. If Hiko goes to the full-time calling position as opposed to just a mid-round suggestion type player, then it does give Adren a lot more opportunity to pick up the op to be a more of a sniper presence.
I preferred his rifles, to be honest. I think his AWP is very
and a lot
lackluster.
of people have said that.
I actually think he's a very good player. I think his AWP, though, for me, whenever I watch him, especially at LANs, it seems like he can AWP. He's not a bad player, for example, but he's just not on the level of some of the other guys he's up against on the server. So
and the discussion, and there was always, I forget who it was that said it originally, but Thorn brought it back to light as well when he was discussing Liquid's issues and the fact that it's a $4,700 decoy grenade ultimately in some cases with Adren, which is it is a very, very harsh statement to say, but it's not like it's been something that hasn't been noted before that he has had issues with that weapon. But if Hiko does go to a full-time calling position, maybe that's something he could put more time into. I'm not sure Hiko would be calling. I mean, maybe he is. We could be wrong. From my understanding, he wasn't planning on calling this early.
If he was going to join a team like Liquid, he'd want to mold it into his own
Absolutely.
project, right?
I totally agree with that. But as it's still early days, I imagine there's an adaptation phase going on, even if he's going to take the calling over from Adren, because Adren has worked out a lot of issues that this team has had. Obviously, they haven't gotten over that final hurdle of sort of stepping up like CLG has as of late. But I think that Adren has made progress going forward, and for Hiko just to come in as the blind man ultimately in this situation, playing with four that already have chemistry together, and to try and remold everything might not be the best issue right off the bat. He'd be better to come in slowly, figure out the team, and then adapt it later. Yeah,
that's definitely a good point. I think Liquid especially, they've always had a good approach to the game. The fundamentals are very good. It's always been the mid-round and the final execution has been a problem for them. They can get the bomb down the terrorist side. It's just the synergy between the team when it comes down to clutch situations. It's always been heralded that they had a lack of experience in some of the situations. I just don't think we can entertain that any longer. Like, that seems to be a running issue for them. The clutch situations, when they have the advantage especially as well, losing out there. But that is a conversation for another day, perhaps, as we finally do go live in this first game here. We've got Luminosity Gaming from Brazil going up against Method, the underdogs of this group, North American team. And we'll have a look as we go into the first round. T-side going to be buying up 4 sets of armor. Ely on the utility play as well. 1 smoke grenade, 2 flashes for him. Seems like LG maybe going a little bit aggressive here. They boost up onto short, but only from the T side actually going into B area. So
you talked about this as well, though, by boosting up onto catwalk, just getting early information. If you can spot them in middle, which Fur has now done. Needs to be careful he doesn't drop down to Toy, who's still in T-spawn. We've seen that be an issue in some competitive games online. If you can pick up an SMG, but look at steal. 1, 2, 3. Never mind the 4th. It doesn't matter. Damage done. Only 2 remain now. For Method as Bolts will push up inside middle. And Fallen, he spotted the last man already. It's Justin on the catwalk. He does have bombs, so if he could get this kill quick enough, he might have a chance to get a plant, but not with Fur coming in behind. And he goes for the burst because he knows he's low.
So obviously the T-side went for a very simple execution. Didn't actually get any presence towards the map whatsoever. They actually just all grouped up top middle. Simple smoke on Xbox and just went for that Glock train up short. But still, unfortunately, had other ideas. Very nice, simple P2000 work for him. And this is what I'm talking about. When you go around those first corners, the first T player should be jumping around that corner just to face that choke point and get the information. And it means that the aim has to be reset by the CT. But 3 simple shots for him. The Ts will be buying into this round. Tech9s and Deagles. Justin opens it up, though. Takes down Fallen. That's a huge scalp to take. And then does answer straight back, though.
And Fur has to be careful because he's gone low on HP. So Toy will take that fight. Tech9 that close. It's lethal. That's 2 kills now on this eco round. 4 spy eco round. Of course, we refer to the second round as that, but it's more of a 4 spy in this case, as we can see. To take the lead, Toy's lost a lot of HP pushing through the doorways, though, down to 19 HP. But ultimately, it was worth it, taking out Fallen early and having to force this LG defense out of position to spread themselves among 3 players only. Steel's gone catwalk as a result, and he shut them down last time. He tries to do it again, and Cold, off the bait that he's presented, goes out. Takes down 2 distracted members of Method. He's going to follow this up as well by pushing on to Strebber, the last now remaining player. And they will survive with 3 up. UMP, does that get traded out for the FAMAS? No, Cold's already grabbed that one. Admitted my mistake.
So really nice reaction from LG there, actually making sure, even though they had the man down there, they knew they had to get information, work out what the T's are, and not let them isolate individual players onto the bomb side. So pushing through middle, pushing up short as well, taking advantage of the rifles they had in round. That was a very nice play from them, and they got themselves back into it. So losing 2 frags wasn't the end of the world. Seems like a B rush coming in, but look at the players in lower B, 2 Brazilians coming up, and they're going to be ready for this as well. And it's going to be an exchange of frags, and it should be a very simple clean up indeed. 3 frags, 4, and Justin answers back, and it seems like Cold will be finishing things off here.
And we're going to have a pause in case you missed it. Justin's not going out silently, though. There it is. And LG taking the fight directly to them, reading them very well, in fact. All of the calls, all of the aggression in their favor. Obviously, it was a little shaky at the start of round 2, but we do have a pause. A mic issue was called. I think it was Silent that said his headset broke on the way back from the win-out land, so hopefully that's something they can fix up rather quickly.
Well, if he's anyone like me, he's got about 20 headsets in his cupboard, so it should be a pretty quick fix, but... yeah, pretty simple round there. I like that aggression sometimes from CTs. You see Nip do that a lot when they know the team are going to be on a full eco there. It just shows your aggression and how much confidence you got right now. Puts teams on tilt perhaps as well. Just getting in there and locking them down before they even enter a key area of the map. So nice round from LG. Obviously a dream start for them. We saw Method do the force buy on the second round, so they won't have an AWP going to this. Fallen, one of the most aggressive and flashy AWPers you can actually imagine these days, will be picking up the AWP first round and looking at the CT buy. 3 incendiaries, they are set and ready to go. So you would assume they are going to get a lot more rounds in the next few, as Method will be forced onto the 5 rifles here. But who knows? I'm not really sure what to expect from them. I assume from what we've seen so far, we haven't seen many standard play. We've seen a lot of set ideas, especially on the pistol, on the second round, for example. But let's see what they bring to the first round. I wouldn't be surprised if Luminosity kept up this aggression, though. We talked about teams before in previous games when you have that confidence and you know you're the stronger team. I think it was Mouse Sports versus one of the, maybe Torpedo, was it? They kept pushing through lower B into like although facing every single angle, just because you know you're so much better than the other team. You can utilize your individual play just to shut them down and not allow them to even execute onto you.
So Silent's obviously not back into the game yet because we can see he's yet to buy, whereas all of his teammates have. So he's still probably crawling around at the back of his computer trying to fix up wires and get something resolved. Perhaps, like you say, plug in another headset. And we'll go. We're seeing an A4 out for Steel as well. So interesting that he's still electing to hold on to that rifle. I actually still think, and not even just because of the extra ammo, although that is a large part of it, but for spraying, that gun is still the master of the 2 M4s. It doesn't have the first bullet potential, but
you don't have. It's not like they're mutually exclusive. You can change from map to map. It's definitely a situational weapon, right? So
I was actually surprised more people weren't doing that when it was first implemented. You know, like banana if you're going to spray down versus spools if you're going to play in the back of the site.
Exactly. So depending on whether you're in very smoke-heavy choke points, like you said on banana, when you're getting smoked out and you need to be spamming smokes, and for example, it's almost a 100% decision you take the Silence M4. But if you're playing in more open positions, you're like allowed to face angles and you're playing more aggressive, perhaps. Definitely the M4A4 is favoured in those situations. It's definitely a situational weapon, but used a lot less, obviously. But it looks like we have confirmation the game will be going back in there. Like I said,
we are
5 rifles for Method there.
And then we'll have Fallen going for the AWP. Fur yet to bring out a big weapon. He's going to hold on to the SMG just a little bit further. And Silent is going to face this with an AK. Okay, luckily they don't get Fallen immediately onto them from middle. He goes toward long rather than taking that really aggressive CT-sided pick.
You can see the T's here actually playing very passively. They're not even going to face angles. They're waiting for that CT aggression we spoke about. I think they're aware that's what will be presented to them, but they are going to be sending Strebber towards middle. Maybe he'll be facing out there.
And still a lot of heavy catwalk presence as well, because we're seeing that AWP come back from Fallen. This down brings Fur with the SMG back closer onto the platform, but it also leaves Steel alone with Long. And so far, there's not much pressure being put on there, but as they slowly lurk toward catwalk and find out that there is an AWP waiting and getting the kill from Fallen, they'll soon try and push Ely through because he's back toward where the bomb is. That is, of course, if Method can even find the map control, because after losing that first pick to Fallen, they've been discouraged. Well, first gotten around behind one player. Luckily, Fallen's found him first, so he doesn't actually have an awkward encounter. Tries to pick up an AK, a massive upgrade from that UMP, but gets caught by Justin in the process. So now Fallen has to change angles. He's already, no pun intended, fallen off the ledge for safety. Not going to stick around and try and hold that angle, and he'll just play this from car. Now he can control the situation, and Ely is slowly coming in, and Fallen's found him as well. Great round so far. 3 kills for him on the AWP, and 2 players still alive for Method. We can make that 1 less. Fallen back on the AWP, picking it up from ZQK, when they made the roster swap, is looking solid, and Steel will end up from pit, holding on. They lost Fur, as we saw, but that's all they lost.
So we talked about Fallen was going to be big on this map, and has he stepped up so far? 4 huge frags in the first gun round for him. Just changing positions, utilizing his aim. We saw the first one on short, dropping down. Got a second as well, pushing through the smoke, and then just falling back between long, getting that car position, and that this should be a sign of things to come in this game. You can see Fur actually opting for another SMG. They're going to be keeping the bank account nice and strong, perhaps, as he goes into lower B as well. That's going to be interesting. You can see all the players, 4 of them, in fact, in upper B. And maybe they'll be pincering here. You can see Fur's going to be pincering with his teammate. Could be big frag actually to make. You see they are struggling a little bit. 3-on-3 now. Damage has been done though.
And look at Steel's position though. He's got around behind. He's got information from middle. Despite that they've now lost Fallen as well and given up the B site, Steel's quick on the rotation. He's called that Silent is still at the mid doors. He doesn't take that fight because he knows Cold is still in a good position to do it for him. So he'll get on the rotation much quicker. And they'll try and pinch, but Silent's not moving. And Cold knows he's there, but he doesn't have the courage to go forward because he hasn't figured it out yet. Now he does, and he'll use the A1 in perfect performance. Double P, the alliteration catching me off even, but nonetheless, it now leaves him alone because Steel's gone down trying to re-enter. With Smoke and Justin picking up the AWP is going to put Cold down. That's Fallen's weapon that he used.
So obviously LG there trying to force the issue a little bit too much. We talked about that confidence. Actually bites him in the ass a little bit there because the pincer into lower B. First player goes down. The synergy wasn't quite there. It's 2 1-on-4 situations going into it. And Bolts did pretty well to get back in there. But when it came to a 3-on-3 situation, they had the AWP, that B bomb site. Very difficult to rotate. And the CT's had a difficult time there. So now they pick up their first round, bounce back with a full buy as well. AWP's going to be on silent. Looks like they've actually got long under control. Very important part of the map to have dominancy of.
Massive importance because now they have to fall back on this. And Fallen's yet to recross over on mid. They're going to go even more passive on that A site. Fur goes all the way back to CT. They initially boosted Steel up to try and get more catwalk control, so he'll play the retake game if they hit this A site. But he's going to have company elsewhere. First Fallen, though, that's why perhaps he hasn't rotated. He waits for them to come back to top mid. He's gotten one very crucial kill that now allows Steel to pick up yet another and an AK. Toy tries to get in position to catch him when he rotates back around the corner. But so far is yet to do so, and he's spotted up, so needs to be so careful in that corner position. Silent, meanwhile, AWP in return will take Fallen for the second straight round. He goes down. That's 3 deaths total for him. He's matched up to Fur. It was efficient early on, but Method are now finding picks. After that last round, having these guns up again is crucial. They're also going to work onto the site. Fur's not spotted. Has now. Needs to use that aim that he's known for. Hits up Toy. Not able to collect the final damage, though, but that nade should do enough, and that will prevent the bomb plant, which now allows LG to retake from Catwalk and help to prevent exactly that scenario, although they are holding it. Silent's going to get another kill on Fur. This gives them more of a chance, and Silent's still holding with that AWP, but low HP. Bolt's able to hit the shot, and Cold will close out on Ely. They'll get the defuse, and we'll go to 5-1. A money reset as well on the T side.
It all came down to that grenade from CT Spawn. If they got that bomb down in that situation, they could have got themselves set up, AWP down long, and it would have been much more difficult for them. As soon as that happened, and really did mess things up for Method there. They had a decent round. Silent getting a couple of big frags at the AWP, but ultimately, though, after losing that round, they only get $1,400 each, but they have got bombs down a couple of times. So a buy here should be possible. We can see Silent actually able to pick up an AWP as well, so that's interesting considering another one of his players has Tech 9, a drop coming in as well. So 4 rifles, an AWP, an auto shotgun for Fur. A weapon we haven't seen too much since the NA qualifiers, actually. So good to see it back in the rotation once again. Let's see what he can do with that. It's actually going into the long doors as well, where he will find Ely. So let's see what Fur can do with that.
It's interesting that Fur's economy has been damaged so much every round. Again, I mentioned he'd had the highest deaths on the team, still does it 4-4. So he's been forced in a couple of rounds now. His position is aggressive. If Ely dare walk through, it's going to be a very sore sight. Staring down the barrel of that shotgun. Don't mess with the farmer's daughter. As the flash will go back over top of middle. The first one did blind up both Cold and Steel, but only partially so, and they're going to go for the NOA boost now above the smoke. This could pay dividends, although 3 players, have already gone by. So if they could catch a rotation on Toy, that would be the best case scenario at this point. And Fallen is essentially going to have to hold this A site, this A platform, all by himself. Cold does get that shot on Ely, but Steel's got to go quickly back over toward that A site. If they want any chance of survival, they still have Cold spraying through that smoke. Justin needs to go past this. He's actually getting caught up in the fight, but he has the bomb, and Fallen is stepping up. He's managed to hit 2. His AWP, again, looking dominant. Bomb, though, as mentioned, is still in play. Justin's got that. Toy's going to find Fur. This may give them a chance to rotate back, and with Cold now only getting 1, Toy's the last alive, pushes through, and Steel's going to catch him.
So Fallen holding strong once again in the A-bomb side. Silent did try to face him. There's such a difficult angle to go in and just face straight up. You need to have a proper execution there. You need players dropping down in CT spawn to isolate the AWP. Otherwise, I could have a field day there every single time. We saw it once again. Fallen currently set on 8 frags here. Cold actually with 10. There's going to be 2 SMGs here, but definitely viable considering the buy the T's will be presented to them. They will be broken at this stage. 2 players pushing up middle for the CTs as well. They're going all in. It seems like all 5.
Cold needs to be careful.
Going into the B tunnels here.
I thought that they were, and the reason I said he had to be careful is because I thought they were going to rotate back down into those lower tunnels. They didn't. If they had, they might have caught both players off guard from LG. Instead, they work into that B site. Nade comes through. Excellent spray down from Steel. He's looking for number 3. Can he get it? No, just barely. Ely will hit the headshot as that M4 was slowly dissolving its ammo, but ultimately it was too late for any chance of a comeback in the round. Method still on 1 as Luminosity hit 7. I'm really surprised. Now, that round we saw them go B, but I'm really surprised on these catwalk takes that they're not putting more pressure on long. Ely's been really timid at trying to get in toward that position, and ultimately it's like the catwalk guys are going solo. There's no chance for distraction.
The first gun round, they did the long take, and they actually got that pretty successfully. I'd like to see them do that again, but then go into the short play. So you isolate the AWPers. At least he can't be in that car area where he's been so strong. So getting long control early on would be great for them. But once more, they go into this standard play. They're just trying to work out where the aggression may lie. And Cole's actually be pushing into long doors. It's a perfect play. He takes down Ely there. And now, essentially, they've won the round. And they fall back and go more into that passive setup. It'll be very difficult indeed for Method to even answer back here. The steal isn't done. Takes quite a bit of damage there as well. And Bolts takes down Toys. They're 5-on-3 now for the CTs. They can just fall back and play a very passive game.
Cold is stepping above everyone else right now. 12-3. Strebber is going to find Fur. It's a big kill because now they can try and work up toward quad. Cold's going to have to play this hard. He's going to switch his aim over to the dropping player. That's Justin. Unfortunately, he doesn't do it quite quick enough. Justin goes down to 11 HP. That's how he wins the duel. And if I'm not mistaken, Cold may have run out of ammo on the last shot. I have to see it again. But Fallen's now come back through CT spawn. He's working with his teammates, Bolts. And he's also picked up an AK-47, electing to get away from that sniper rifle. Steel's going to find Strebber. He's low on HP. They go for the repeak. Silence down. 2 remaining for Luminosity. Quick defuse and 8 rounds coming total for them.
It's a little bit more stressful for LG than I thought that would be. After getting the first 2 frags, like I said, you normally just need to fall back and allow the T's to make the mistakes at that point. They have to work so hard to make any frags. They managed to find a couple, got the bomb down. So pretty expensive round ultimately for LG. We talked about their economy being kind of weak at this stage, but they do bounce back. The AWP is going to stay strong. And now Method, after losing 4 rounds in a row, going for a little bit of a quasi-buy here. Strebber is actually investing almost all his cash there into the AK, which is interesting considering his team are doing the save buy here. They have got deagles and body armor, for example, but he's making quite a big play here. 3 players for CTs down at long, and it looks like the T's will be going up to mid to be split here.
Cold's going to peek this. Realizes they've gone by. Does he get aggressive on his peek using the smoke? He may actually get in behind them. Instead, he waits to try and see if they push directly toward him. They don't, and that gives up the site ultimately because Strebber found Bolts before actually getting onto Cold. And that gives the bomb plant now. This staggered by. Pistols and armor coming out. They've managed to make something out of nothing here. Has Method. Fallen wants to get back through, as does Steel, looking to get in that smoke, but as soon as he does, Justin's waiting on the other side. And I'm afraid LG have to concede. They'll fall back. Now this, unfortunately, will reset the money bonus as well. So if Luminosity pick up the next round, it could still be favorsome for them in doing so. But they're going to go hunting right now as well.
Next round. If they need to save these 2 guns, LG that is, they need to make sure they have these going to next round. Otherwise, they can't really justify a buy, to be honest. It seems like they will have about 2 players and $3,400. 2 of the guys can justify buying. That'll be Steel and Fallen, but this will be an interesting round. Fallen did save the AWP though, so that does help a lot. He can drop 1 rifle, and I think that means they can buy this. A couple of players will be on Famis perhaps. I think that's will be Fur and Bolts. But yeah, like you said, this, he's actually going for a 5-7. Interesting. So this is definitely a must-win round for Luminosity. Otherwise, they are broken at that stage. Nice little tactic there from Method, utilising the mid area with no CTs actually showing any presence. So now they're going for that long retake again we saw before. This time though, Steel playing very aggressively up into the doors.
It's crazy that Fur, again, is the guy that has no gun. It's just been an unfortunate situation for him where he's had to buy in so many rounds, unlike the rest of his teammates.
I like this Method. This could be working out very well for them.
In this round as well, Method, they'll also break Luminosity. So this round means doubly so in terms of money for either side. Fur's going to wait behind this smoke, but that's only going to survive for so long. He's got to make a play. He's got 1 more smoke as well to try and utilize to get that position, and he spots Strebber as he tries to run away, and he actually is going to hit him. That's a big kill because this now gives the man advantage back to LG. It also has the information that they're rotating away from that A-long position, but as Fur tries to push forward and pick up that rifle, he gets taken down, so take away that advantage, take away that positional and information game because now Ely looks to go back toward long. Justin's going to cover off mid. He was spotting from T-spawn. So knows there's 1 more player that has to rotate, and Fallen's going to get aggressive on him. Justin not able to connect the no-scope when he scoped out of it to try and find Fallen. And now one knows the other's there, and it's It's a matter of who can hit the shot and who can get away. And Fallen, he baits it perfectly. He pulls him right back toward Cold. And with the second AWP in play, Justin had no idea that was waiting for him. Just dangle him on a string. Piece of meat, pull him forward, and down he goes. Left to just Ely with only a very small amount of HP, which has now been erased as well. Fallen on 9 for his team. Luminosity, 2 only for Method.
So I did say I liked that long take for Method. It was going very well. They got the opening frag and another as well, but then it was Fur who came back with that 5-7 kill. A kill he probably shouldn't have been gifted there. He got caught, the T's get caught on the rotation. They were going to go back to short then do the A split, but obviously it didn't come to fruition. This is going to be a very interesting round now. We can see the T's force buy into this, 1 player on Tech 9 and 2 players for LG. 5-7 and a max 7 on Steel as well, so that's going to be an interesting proposition for the T's. They can work out where those guns lie. Could find themselves in favourable situations. Steel is actually pushing into those long doors. He's going to have only waiting for him though. This has been a duel that's been setting the tone for most of the rounds, to be honest. It's going to come to fruition once again. Steel does win this time. Max 7 takes down the Tech 9 player. The advantage once more goes towards LG.
That's the big thing, is that LG have had the advantage so many times early on. More damage dealt. Bolts actually comes out worse for wear, down to 37 HP. Has to fall away. There's the off-screen shot with that Mag 7, and Steel might get more here because he's got the bomb in his control. Toy, absolutely no idea that he was waiting there. Silent now going to try and reverse this play because he's got to go back for the bomb, so he'll be picking from catwalk to mid, which is occupied by counter-terrorists, so kind of a 180 roll right now, but Cold's there. That'll close it out. Double digits now for Luminosity, and we said Dust2 would be the best chance for Method perhaps to swing in their advantage. It's not happening right now at all.
So now they'll be going into a full eco this time. No force buy available. Haven't got the momentum working in their favour after only losing 2 in a row. The lost bonus will not be strong enough to actually get them armour or anything like that. So some Deagles, a couple of Tech 9s, P250s, and we'll see perhaps potentially favouring that long area once again. It's been such a heavy area contention so far.
We're going to start it off with another Deagle shot. Coming in strong, but taken out immediately after by Fallen, who now goes down. Steel actually does some team damage on that, which allows Ely to close the kill. The advantage actually in the favor of Method in response to this. So Cold has to cover off A by his lonesome. Luckily, Furs found another kill to equalize it inside the tunnels, and Cold's hit the first shot with ease with the AWP. Still has Silent holding the same weapon in return, though. Need to be careful that he's not going to catch someone from the pit, and they'll go for the boost play. Cold calling for that on top of the boxes as well to try and see above the smoke. Misses the reaction shot up close as he tries to flick down onto Justin. But now they know they're pushing forward. Not second time, that's a charm, and Bolt's going to be waiting for this Silent player to cross. He does hit the shot on Colt, but an AWP is still going to be recovered as Bolts will close the round. 2 remaining in the end. Not a bad eco situation for Method, but at this point, we're on round 14, and they've only got 2.
Method look a lot more convincing when they have the Tech 9s and the Deagles, right? And they're going for these fast plays. That's when they're catching out LG in the more position. The standard play and trying to work the frags isn't actually working that well for them. When they go very fast, choose an area to go. They went out middle with the force buy of the AK. They locked it down because they got so much early aggression there. But now Fur's going to be boosting on short. It's going to be even more. It's going to be Cold facing to lower B. This could work out very well for LG. I don't think Method will see this one coming. Justin's going to be the first to drop here. It seems like there it is. Perfect play there from Luminosity.
Does Trevor respond to it, knowing that there's mid-aggression, and walk into that AWP waiting? Fur's looking for more. Sprays a lot of bullets through the smokes, though. As such, wasn't prepared to take the fight on Silent when he eventually did show himself. As mentioned, Cold still there. Bolts closes toy as well with a nade, and this is relentless right now from LG.
When a team has this much momentum and confidence, double orb setup, they know they can afford to be pushing all sorts of areas. Really nice setup, actually. Getting the AWP and lower B, taking out that choke point, pushing up middle, getting the first kill. It just locks down whatever Method have in mind straight away. We can see them trying to salvage around mid to B smoke going down. But Fallen just waiting for them. What can you do in this situation?
Silent's going to go back in toward B tunnels as well. Ely, he'll work through mid. So it'll be a split on B, but that's already shut down. Fallen was waiting for that the whole time. Bolts, although waiting for Silent, will go down. It gives the information to Fallen, who very calculatedly walks to his right, finds the shot, puts them on 10 rounds ahead of their opponent. 12-2 as we head into the last round of the first half. So watch for the force buy to come out And unfortunately, not even rifles going to be in that mix. They're going to go for Tech 9s, although, like you said, that has been more favorable. They've got utilities to go with it. If they go fast, they might find more openings.
Yeah, well, that's when they've been going into certain areas very quickly and finding no CTs there and actually getting some positional advantage there. So that was the middle last time it worked out for them. Once again, going forwards long, though. Let's see how this one goes down this time.
So far, so good for LG. Steel going to come in with another, and Fallen gets very, very forward on his peak. Goes down, or rather, excuse me, that was Fur, but Fallen is still alive. He's from Cart, hits one shot, blinds himself up, trying to go for a fast peek on the second. He'll follow that with a smoke to try and get an escape, but Streber's pulled back in, is hitting cold, has done massive damage to the defense of the A site for LG. Oh, watch that tag, though, on silent. That allows bullets to come around. Fire on the car, no scope from Fallen. He just waits there the whole time, so a good number of kills for Fallen in the round. 3, in fact, and 2 assists, so hit all 5 players in the end.
Yeah, these Luminosity guys love outstaying their welcome, especially that long area. When you get the first kill, you normally just fall back at the information, wave your teammates, but they love to face over and over again. This is the point where they probably even shouldn't be there anymore. You can see Silent coming around, getting the double spray down there with the CZ and the nade combo. But there we go, 13-2. Very convincing half, nonetheless. Can't take anything away from that. If they win this pistol, you have to imagine this one is all but over. So let's see what goes down here. We can see actually some P250s coming out on the terror side. It's kind of unorthodox. They'll be setting up those raid bosses as well. Got armor on Fallen with P250 in hand. They'll be getting long position. You can see no CTs actually towards long, but they have pushed up middle and got a little bit of info as to where the T's may be going. Strebel does take down Steel in the process.
Around the corner at long, they've already made their presence. Getting that information, though, they've rotated 3 over. Can they get the kills they need? Methods found all of them. Not a single kill in response. Beautiful pistol round. And now a chance for momentum, a chance to try and get back into 6 rounds before Luminosity get the guns out. Rather, excuse me, it'll be 5 in this case. Either way.
That first kill from Strebel there opened things up. But like I said, they had the information at the top and middle where the T's would be heading. They almost funneled them. They forced them into this issue. So then big USP spray down there. So great round from Strebel. Fantastic from him, in fact. That's a really nice play. T's will be forcing back into this straight away. They've got P250s. Fallen, of course, no armor for him. He'll be looking towards the AWP. So wise investment there, but Method making sure they have a strong buy up here. 3 rifles, 2 SMGs, pretty standard stuff.
Fur's going to walk around this corner, though, and Toy is waiting. SMG in hand. Here's the smokes and flashes come over top, but still he goes down to Fur. Great shot, and Silence run out of bullets, so he has to switch to the pistol. This allows Cold to follow up, and Justin, a P90 is not enough. He's spammed away all his bullets into the edge of the wall, and unfortunately the penetration, insignificant as such, allows Fur to come back again. Looking to be the eco killer right now is Fur. Fallen comes back to mid, though. He has spotted the last 2 remaining players, both heading toward Catwalk as the bomb will go down. So he's given information to his team, if nothing else, but unfortunately he's lost the only SMG they still had in play, so it's got to come down to these pistols to hold the site, and so far Cold is doing exactly that. Steel, excellent one-tap with the Tech 9 and the last remaining HP of Elite, and we're on 14 rounds already.
Yep, I'm afraid that is the GG here. You're going to see the full rifles come in from LG. Method have to buy up into this round. They can't allow LG to get the match point at this stage of the game. So getting up short and finding the first 2 frags. We saw some very scrappy exchanges. The CT's missing almost a whole Famis clip there before finding a kill, and that was a huge problem for them. And very aggressive there and got shut down by the close range running potential. And we can see now Steel facing towards long, unable to find a frag, but doing some decent damage in the process.
Gets away as well. That scout to come into play desperately, but he's down to 10 HP. Toy is going to make up for lost ground on Catwalk last time, and now the pistols again are doing damage. Streber getting a second kill on Fur, but Fallen will follow up by taking down Toy. 14 HP left for him. He'll switch over to the AK-47. He's got bomb, needs to be a little bit careful as he heads back toward mid, but the problem is he's going to be trapped essentially on that Catwalk corner, because if he drops down, he's got a presence on the other side of the double doors, and in waiting, he's actually gotten aggressed by Justin. So this now leaves LG in a very awkward position, and they're being flanked out. They haven't turned around in time. Silent has come in and done 12 HP left on Steel. And as they all turn that way, Justin will close it out with the AK-47. A good response, double eco.
I'm sorry, that was very scrappy and lackluster from Luminosity there. Weren't really approaching anti-ecos properly, weren't going together into very heavy choke points. One player going up short, getting taken down, allowing the CT to survive in that situation without him dropping as well. Toy should be just taken down here. There's absolutely no way why he shouldn't be dead. Players walking out middle by themselves, a lot of one-on-X action, just getting pulled apart there. Pretty bad, to be honest. But Fallen actually opens up from the round onto Ely, takes down. They have Force Ball once again. Scout coming to fruition, but I'm not sure this buy was the best header from Luminosity. Maybe this is a sign of them wanting to close things out very early on, but let's see how this one goes down. They have got the advantage so far. Thing is, they did take a lot of CT scalps with them last round, so banking on that. Take Toy down and Justin as well. 5 on 2, and the answer could be very strong indeed.
The Scout trying to pick away. So far, so good. As LG with this force buy may just be able to pull out another round, put themselves on this match point. Silent doesn't want any of it, so he'll put the shot back in his steel, but all the while, Bomb's gone down on 8, and I doubt with 1 HP, there's really much that he can do.
Oh, damn. Didn't happen. So 15-4, like I said, that pretty much is it for this game, well, this first map. CTs will have something to buy with here. It's going to be maybe 1 M4 and Justin. That's going to be about it. So the rest of the guys on pistols, they have got some nades, but they know they need the first frag here. Luminosity pretty much know this is in the bag now. They can just do something very fast, maybe a long take, just utilise that spawn they've got from the 2 players. Actually, 3 of them going towards long, so they will actually go straight there. Not going to find any contention whatsoever from the CTs. So once they get that, utilise the rifles. That's the first gun from CTs going down as well.
Cold. He's so quick, gets up on top of the box, takes down Justin, doesn't stick around for the second kill because he knows there's a presence at mid, very aware of the situation. And there's no chase. Eventually, Ely does get impatient, tries to walk through, and Cold finds that kill as well. Meanwhile, his team, they've all walked up onto the quad section of the map. Silent is actually going to go down, as well as now Strevor. It leaves just Toy remaining, and that'll do it. 16-4, the first map does go to LG. Surprise, surprise, we knew this was going to be a potential 2-0, but that convincingly on the map, we thought maybe Method could find some momentum on.
It felt like the first half went by so quickly there. Like, didn't really get a chance to analyse actually what was going wrong for Method. Seemed like the round they did have guns. There was a lot of aggression from the CTs pushing him to lower B. Long was a heavy point of contention for them in the battles. They just weren't winning. We talked about Luminosity actually getting the first kills and not doing what most teams were, falling back and actually allowing them to the Ts to come back to them. They're so on point all the time, making sure they utilise their stronger players, got the frags there, and that first half really did summarise the game for me. That was kind of over at that stage.
And we'll look at the scoreboard, but one player led the way, at least into the last round, unless Fallen passed him again. But Cold was top fragging. And yeah, he did 23. Okay, so we got 3 kills in the last round. Cold. Pretty impressive stuff as well if you're playing Vulcan, and you should be. He was the cheapest player on the team because he is the newest player as well, so good value. I do.
I did as well.
Yeah, he's definitely a player worth keeping and picking up as much as possible. 5 first kills for him. Fallen not far behind those 2 players, definitely on the top. Fur, unfortunately, didn't really get a chance to show up because his economy was weakened quite a bit in the first half. We talked about that. He had numbers of force buys over and over again, so in effect, he became sort of a support player this evening and second fiddle to both Fallen and Cold. But we'll take a look at the heat map and dissect, I guess, the action and aggression, because we're going to see a lot more aggression naturally from Luminosity.
Well, absolutely. They only played how many rounds did they actually get to play on their T side? It's actually, 5? So Method, you can dissect a little bit easier as they played the whole half there, but without that many kills on the board, to be honest. We saw them utilise Long a lot, and that's when they actually did get kills in the A corner. There you can see Method getting some kills there, but it was just once they got those frags, they weren't really sure what to do with them. They got pulled apart at that stage. Getting into B as well, that heavy fragging towards the B door, that's when they were going through middle and actually getting frags there, and they actually did get some opening frags. Just the retakes actually let them down in that situation. So those are the heavy points of contention. B doors, long A for them. Like I said, Luminosity, we didn't really see too many rounds of them. Like the pistol and stuff, it's difficult to say what actually went down too much. You can see short was an area that had a lot of frags going on for them, but like I said, only 5 rounds played. Not much we can really say about that.
Yeah, and a lot of those without proper gun rounds. So nonetheless, 16-4, we will look at the MVP. It is going to be the man who's Cold. Hopefully he warms up. He doesn't need to, though. He's already warm enough to lead the way. 23 kills, 9 deaths only. 5 first kills, that's pretty impressive stuff, and 12 headshots out of the 23 kills, so better than 50% headshot.
Pretty nice to see him having that hybrid style as well, picking up the CT AWP as well, getting that rolling with Fallen. That was quite fun to watch. So interesting stuff and a sign of things to come, perhaps. 16-4 was the first score, and that was actually Method's map, correct?
Absolutely.
So
that was Method
going into train. Very scary prospect, perhaps.
And a little more tactical prowess now. I'm not 100% sure that what we're going to see in terms. Luminosity is very good. Like I said, they're kind of like Na'Vi, where they'll sit back, they'll execute very quickly toward the end of a round, or even, maybe not so much like Na'Vi in the fact that they'll wait till that 20-second mark. They'll go whenever they feel like they've baited out the utilities from the CT side, or they've got an opening. So it could be at mid-round point, but either way, when they go very quickly. And I think Train gives a lot more potential to that. But where they've got so much skill over Method, they may not even have to run that.
That's what I was about to say. I don't think they need to do anything too crazy. Like, I think they'd be doing themselves a disservice if they actually ran everything and put all these heavy strats out, allow themselves to get picked in that sort of situation. I think just going out, keeping it simple. They're going to be a start on the T side here, pushing out into angles, utilizing the players they have. A couple of key smokes down and choke points, but doesn't need anything more than that, in my opinion.
All right, well, we will take a short break, come back on that map, and see if this is going to be over in 2 for Luminosity.
Very nice, simple P2000 work for him. And this is what I'm talking about. When you go around those first corners, the first T player should be jumping around that corner just to face that choke point and get through the smoke, and then it's falling back between long, getting that car position, and that this should be a sign of things to come in this game. You can see Fur actually opting for another SMG. They're going to keep in that big frag actually to make. You can see they are struggling a little bit in there, but looking to a throw-in-3 situation. They had the AWP. That players has F9 and drop coming in as well. So 4 rifles, AWP.
He comes through. Excellent spray down from Steel. He's looking for number 3. Can he get it? No, just barely. Will hit the headshot. As that M4 was slowly dissolving. He was down, or rather, excuse me, that was Fur, but Fallen is still alive. He's from Car. Hits one shot, blinds himself up, trying to go for a fast peek on the second. He'll follow that with a smoke to try and get an escape, but Strebber's pulled back in, is hitting cold. Has done massive damage to the defense of the A site for LG. Oh, watch that tag, though, on silent. That allows bolts to come around. Fire on the Car. No scope from Fallen. He just waits there the whole time.
First kill from Strebber there, opened things up. But like I said, they had the information at the top and middle where the T's would be heading. They almost funneled them. They forced them into this issue. So then, big USP spray down there. So Toy should be just taken down here. There's absolutely no way why he should be dead. Players walking out middle by themselves. A lot of one-on-X action. Just getting pulled hard.